What's up everyone, we are back in one of your favorite cities, and that is Folsom, California. Every time we showcase different parts of Folsom for you guys on this channel, you love it, and we end up getting tons of phone calls from people calling us, asking us questions about Folsom, or they're thinking about moving or relocating to the greater Sacramento metro.
Today we're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna explore the city and some of our favorite places and give you 5 pros and 5 cons of what we think about living in Folsom. Now, we love this town, but there are definitely things that may be a turnoff for you, and you would probably rather know these things prior to making a decision about moving here.
All right, so the first pro on our list is gonna be all the outdoor recreational activities that Folsom has to offer. So where Folsom's located proximity-wise, you're gonna be in between 2 lakes. You're gonna have Folsom Lake, which is gonna be more towards the north side of Folsom, which is gonna be one of the biggest lakes in the greater Sacramento metro. And then you're also gonna have Lake Natoma, which this is gonna be Lake Natoma that's right here behind us. So you're gonna have a lot of different fun things that you can do. We have paddle boarding out here, you have kayaking out here. So on this lake behind us, you're gonna have a lot more of your kind of non-motorized water sports. And then Folsom Lake, you're gonna have a lot more of your motorized water sports, which are gonna be, you know, wakeboard boats, jet skis, fishing boats, any kind of thing that has a motor is gonna probably do more service out at Folsom Lake than out here at Lake Natoma. But Lake Natoma can be a little bit more chill. You can come out here, you can do some paddle boarding. We're over on the Sutter Street side of Lake Natoma. Behind us, you can see there's the other boat launch, or the paddleboard launch, which is gonna be over off of Black Miners Bar. So there's gonna be a lot of different things that you can do out here at Lake Natoma. So that's gonna be one of our main pros, is gonna be all the different outdoor recreation that's out here as well.
So one of the cool things about being close to these 2 lakes is you have the waterways where you can go out and you can enjoy the water, but there's tons of trails around these 2 different lakes. So if, you know, mountain biking or going biking is your thing, or running, or going for walks kind of in a nice area where it's shaded by a ton of trees and you have a beautiful scenery around you, that's also something that they have here. So that's really cool. We love getting out here, also doing our outdoor cardio, going for walks, or, you know, going for bike rides out here too is a lot of fun. Another thing Folsom is known for is its biking community. So there's tons of cyclists all across Folsom. So Folsom's outdoor activities is really going to set it apart from some of the other surrounding cities.
And then proximity-wise for Folsom, outside of just having the stuff directly within the city limits, you're also not too far away from like some of the foothills that are gonna be up in like El Dorado Hills, which is the next city up. You have some of the foothill hiking that are gonna start in kind of like Cameron Park, Shingle Springs, Placerville, as you're going up towards the Highway 50 side, up towards South Lake Tahoe.
All right, so the next pro on our list is gonna be all of the awesome shopping that Folsom has to offer. Now, right now we're at the Palladio, which is basically Folsom's version of a mall. It's an outdoor shopping area that has a ton of stores. It has a ton of stores, it has a ton of restaurants here. Basically everything you need is right here. So we love coming to the Palladio. It's an awesome place to do back to school shopping, to do, you know, Christmas shopping, just anything you need, it's all right here. They've got stores like Victoria's Secret, they've got H&M, they've got a ton of different boutiques. You know, you can grab a Starbucks here and then just kind of spend the day walking around this beautiful outdoor mall. It's absolutely gorgeous. The way they set it up is really, really nice. They also do fun events here where we're at. They also do awesome DJ nights here, where on Thursday nights they'll have a DJ set up on a stage, which kind of is around these fountains. They've got really cool like outdoor activity things that your family can do while they're here. So they have like one of those life-size kind of chess games that you can play. They've got Jenga. We came here with a few friends. We played Jenga for like an hour, just had a blast listening to music. People will also come out and dance in front of the DJ stand. We weren't quite that, but it was just a really fun vibe. And then you've also got a ton of restaurants here. You've got Iron Horse Tavern, you've got Chicago Fire. If you like frozen yogurt, they have Pinkberry. They have just a ton of things here that you can really come and spend the day. It's really awesome. Now, Folsom definitely has you covered when it comes to shopping. You don't have to leave the city if you don't want to. You know, but if you want to go to like a regular mall, Roseville's not that far away, but you really don't have to leave Folsom to get anything that you need.
Just to give you guys some perspective, right? So we're at the actual outdoor stage. So that's the stage right there behind us. They've got different things. They've got the fountains that are right here. They've got a life-size tennis board. They've got a chess, outdoor chess. They've got cornhole over here. Definitely a lot of really cool things here. And then the other thing that she didn't mention, but there are 2 movie theaters that are also here as well. So you've got the Lux. So the Lux is actually really cool. You can get food there, you can get drinks there, 21 and up, so you don't have to worry about dealing with like younger kids or younger children that are gonna be like, you know, talking or screaming inside of a movie theater. So that's also super cool, but there's also another movie theater that's going to be catered towards families as well too. So
now while we're talking about shopping, you know, we kind of covered the like clothing side of things. Folsom also has their own Costco, so you don't have to leave Folsom to go do your bulk shopping, or, you know, if you're like us and that's where you grocery store shop, you don't have to leave Folsom to accomplish that. They also have a ton of grocery stores across the city. So depending on what area you live in, you know, your grocery store, Costco, it's all gonna be relatively close. It's not gonna take you that long to accomplish those errands either.
So in Sacramento, greater Sacramento area, we have 5 or 6 major grocery stores. So along East Bidwell, you're gonna have Sprouts, you're gonna have Trader Joe's or TJ's, you're gonna have Raley's, you're gonna have Safeway, and then here at the Palladio, you're gonna have Whole Foods. So those are gonna be the main 5 grocery stores if you're just not wanting to go and deal with the craziness at Costco. So the next pro on our list is gonna be all the awesome schools that are gonna be located in and throughout Folsom. So the cool thing about Folsom, and I would say for a lot of areas in the greater Sacramento metro, is you can actually have a really good public education and you don't have to fork out the extra cash to send your kids to private schools. So there's 2 high schools that are gonna be located in Folsom. You're gonna have Folsom High School and you're gonna have Vista del Lago. So you're gonna have 2 different junior high schools. They're gonna be Sutter Middle School and Folsom Middle School. And then you're also gonna have a 3rd high school and a 3rd junior high school that's gonna be built out in Folsom Ranch. And then you're gonna have a handful of different elementary schools that are gonna be sprinkled all the way throughout the different neighborhoods and areas of Folsom.
Yeah, so the 2 high schools here, like you mentioned, right now you've got Vista del Lago. It's rated a 9 out of 10 on greatschools.org, and then you've got Folsom High School. It's rated a 10 out of 10. These high schools are awesome high schools. Like you said, a lot of people come here because of the education in Folsom. But on top of the education, they offer amazing sports programs that are known across this state. Folsom High School specifically is very well known for its football program. You know, you've got people that really want to be here just for that program because they usually make it to the state playoffs every single year. So if football is something you want to get your kid into, you know, and you want to see him go far with it, Folsom is definitely going to be a place that you're going to want to check out.
So before we jump into our next pro, we are going to throw that phone number up on the screen. We are licensed real estate agents in the state of California, which means that as much as we love making these videos for you, we also love helping you more with all of your real estate needs and relocating and moving to the greater Sacramento metro, especially Folsom, El Dorado Hills, places like Elk Grove. So that phone number should be popping up there. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we got your back when it comes to moving to the greater Sacramento metro.
All right, so another pro on our list is gonna be the historic downtown Folsom area. So where I'm at right now, historic downtown Folsom, it's an awesome area. There's tons of things that happen here. You've got tons of restaurants, tons of awesome little boutiques, tons of different stores. It's just a really cool place to come. We love coming here for date night. It's a great atmosphere. It's really pretty at night. They've got little twinkly lights that light up the little walkway down Sutter Street. It's a fun place with a fun vibe, and it's just an awesome place to come check out. You'll love it here. So they do a ton of fun things here throughout the year. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to things to do in Folsom. But specifically this area, the community center puts on a lot of events here that are great to come hang out, get to know different members of the community, and get to just hang out and meet some of your neighbors and have an awesome experience. So one of the main reasons why I love historic downtown Folsom is the vibe that it gives. It's super chill. It's got that old time vibe. The buildings are awesome. Our teenagers love coming here and hanging out and spending the day shopping the boutiques with their friends. They have a really cool art mural scene down one of the side of the buildings that has like the wings where you can stand and take some pretty cool pictures. So it's just a really cool place to come hang out, spend the day, or spend a date night. And just kind of take in the scenery. It's really beautiful. It's a really fun place.
All right, so the next pro on our list, we're gonna be talking about things to do in Folsom. Now, we're at the Folsom City Park. Now, this is gonna be right where the Folsom City Zoo is. You're gonna see that right behind us. This is also where they do the pro rodeo. They have a baseball, little t-ball field that's out here. So they have a lot of different things that they like to do out here. So one of the pros for Folsom is gonna be all the different things that they have to do out here.
Yeah, so one of our favorite things to do out here is to come check out the Folsom City Zoo, which, like you said, it's located right behind us. They have an awesome exhibit of a ton of different animals. It's a smaller zoo, so it's not super big, but it's a great place to come bring out if you have small kiddos. They also have a really cool little ride-on train thing that you can go on that's around this park that's near the zoo. That's a lot of fun. So it's just a really fun place to come and spend the day as a family. Come check out the animals at the zoo. They also do a ton of fun community events here. They'll have different nights and different themed things that happen at the zoo that the city of Folsom puts on as well. Now, another fun thing to do in Folsom, if you have smaller kiddos or kiddos that are interested in checking out different animals or marine life, is you've got SeaQuest. So SeaQuest opened a few years back. It's a cool indoor, kind of like aquarium type thing where you can see different marine life. They have different like petting exhibits where you can, put your hand in and you can feel what the sea ray feels like. You can get really up close to the different sea life that they have here. It's a really fun experience, fun thing to do with the family and with the kiddos for a day.
Yeah, and then before we head over to Sutter Street, one of the last things, and we'll talk about it as a part of the seasonality things that we talk about over at Sutter Street, but every 4th of July they have the Folsom Pro Rodeo. So the Folsom Pro Rodeo is a pretty big deal around here. They actually have some pretty good competition as it relates to different bull riding, bronc riding. They do the mutton busting with the little kids that are riding the sheep with the hockey helmets on. They have a great 4th of July fireworks show out here. You can see it from pretty much all of Folsom, but usually happens on 4th of July or a few days before, depending on if 4th of July lands on the weekend, but it's usually that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that also happens at this park that's right at the same parking lot as the zoo. So this is a super cool park. This is one of the many awesome different parks that if you aren't looking for like a big ordeal thing to do, but you just want to take your kids to a park, you can do it here as well as any of the other amazing parks that the Folsom has to offer. All right, so we were just over at the area where Folsom City Zoo and the Pro Rodeo is at every year, but we came back over to Sutter Street. So I wanted to kind of talk about some of the other things that they have to do here, which downtown Folsom is where I spent a lot of my early 20s. There's a lot of fun restaurants. There's a lot of fun bars down here on Sutter Street. So you've got the Sutter Club, you've got Hacienda, you've got Powerhouse, you've got Scarlett's. A little bit further up East Bidwell, you've got Folsom Lake Bowl, which was a pretty popular place. But one of the cool things about Folsom is Sutter Street. So Sutter Street just has an absolute ton of things to do. It's just super cool, super fun. It's one of those things where, like I said, we would come down here, Friday, Saturday nights, we'd grab some dinner, we'd grab some drinks, but you just got this really cool vibe down here that's just actually really fun. So you got a lot of different things down here that, just make Folsom really cool. So aside from all the different restaurants and the nightlife and some of that, stuff, because a lot of people will tell you like, hey, Folsom doesn't really have a nightlife, but down at Powerhouse, they have live bands, they have live music. So that's always super cool. You've got a couple of different bars that you can go to, and we've definitely shut it down up until 2 o'clock in the morning. But it's just one of those things where, a lot of people, if they didn't spend their early 20s here, they're not gonna know about some of these places when it comes to the nightlife. And yeah, it's not gonna be your downtown Sacramento. It's not gonna be your, club-like type place. It's gonna be, kind of dive bar-ish, and it's gonna be fun. Like Sutter Club is super cool. They always used to play, Journey and 80s songs. They got a jukebox and different things like that. But, it's a super cool place. So the other cool thing is they've got the amphitheater, which is gonna be like right there. And we've done a couple videos over there where, on Thursday nights, they do a summer concert series, which is super fun. The concert series is, again, live bands. It's at the, steps where they, people come out, they bring their lawn chairs, they listen to some music. So Wednesday nights, they have summer concert series at the Palladio. Thursday nights, they have the summer concert series here at Sutter Street. So both 2 opportunities where you can come listen to live bands. Then you've got Powerhouse Pub down at the end of the street, at the end of Sutter Street. There's gonna be some restaurants down there that you can check out as well too. They have live bands, I think, on Friday and Saturday nights there. So definitely a lot of cool things. And then on Saturdays, they also have one of the best farmers markets out here on Sutter Street as well too. So in my opinion, the Saturdays farmers market in Folsom is probably gonna be one of the best farmers markets that you're gonna experience in all of the greater Sacramento metro. There might be one downtown, I think, under the bridge downtown. That's also pretty good as well too. But I know a lot of people may say that one's gonna be better. I personally think this one on Sutter Street is gonna be the best one that you're gonna get in Sacramento. Now, as far as seasonally goes, you have the Folsom Pro Rodeo, which is where we were just at, which is over by the Folsom City Zoo. Then you're also gonna have a trick-or-treating event that's also gonna be in Folsom. It's going to be where all the kids can come around to all the different businesses on Sutter Street, and they can go trick-or-treating. They can do, a bunch of different things. They come down in their Halloween costumes, and they get all dressed up, and they come to all these different businesses, and it's a really safe way where they can do some trick-or-treating. And then the last thing, one of our favorite things to do, is back over by where the amphitheater is in the wintertime. they usually set up an outdoor ice skating rink. So there's a couple outdoor ice skating rinks in the greater Sacramento metro for, Christmas time. This tends to be one of our favorite ones that we tend to go to. There's another one that's at Downtown Commons, out by where the K Street Mall used to be, where Golden One Center is. But lots of cool stuff as it relates to things to do in Folsom. But that's where Sutter Street's gonna be awesome. You're gonna have some other things that are gonna be sprinkled throughout the rest of Folsom over at the Palladio as well. But a lot of your nightlife, a lot of your restaurants are gonna be either on East Bidwell or it's gonna be up and down Sutter Street. Hey, so real quick, if you're loving this information, go ahead and comment down below where you guys are coming from. And if you have any questions specifically about Folsom or the greater Sacramento metro in general, if you're wanting to know more information about certain areas, certain neighborhoods, if there's something that we maybe haven't covered on this, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let us know where you're coming from and let us know what kind of questions that you may have as it relates to the greater Sacramento metro. Now, jumping into one of our first cons for Folsom is going to be the heat.
So it gets super hot here in the summers. There's multiple days where it'll be over 100 degrees. You can go a 7-day week and you can have highs in the 105s, 107s. I think one of our highest days this year was 112. But the one thing to know is that while it does get hot, it'll come in waves. So you'll have heat waves where it'll be super hot for a week and then it'll, cool off and get down into the 90s and give you a little bit of a break before the next one comes. So it does get hot. It is something that during those days, you're gonna wanna make sure that you plan all of your outdoor outings. Any errands you need to run, you're gonna wanna make sure you do them early, or if you wanna come out, and go for a walk or get any outdoor cardio in, it's something that you're gonna wanna get done earlier in the day versus later in the day. So that's something that you're just gonna wanna make sure you plan for. Make sure that you run your AC so that your AC is able to keep up with the heat and you're not behind it and you're not uncomfortable in your home.
So it does get super hot here. Like we said, it can get over 100, 110. The nice thing about Folsom is to combat that con, you do have Lake Natoma, you do have Folsom Lake. So there are a couple different entrances that you can get into Lake Natoma. There's one over off of Hazel Avenue in Orangevale. There's one across the lake. There's one right here. It's over on the Sutter Street side. And then there's a couple of other spots that are gonna be over by the outlets that you can, access Lake Natoma. Now on Saturdays and Sundays, it does get pretty busy out here. There's tons of people out here that are paddleboarding, kayaking, just swimming, having fun.
But we've lived here for a really long time, and it's one of those things that once you get used to it, it's really not that bad. Once you kind of, like I said, plan your day, plan your errands early, and then make the most of it. You have these gorgeous outdoor spaces that you can get out and enjoy the water. We love coming out here as a family. We love paddleboarding. We make a whole day of it. We'll pack the picnic lunch, we'll launch our paddle boards, we'll hang out around the water. So it's one of those things, while it might be a little bit tricky or a little bit hard to get used to at first, once you get acclimated to it, it's really not that bad. It's not a super hot heat like Arizona. We can't have the high of 112 or, super high like that. But it's not a dry, hot heat like Arizona where you have nowhere to go. You have plenty of places where you can get out and still enjoy it. So our next con is gonna be that Folsom is crowded. So Folsom is an area where a ton of people are moving to. A lot of people really like Folsom. It's growing like crazy, which means that restaurants are crowded, shopping is crowded, traffic across the city, it's gonna be crowded. So if you plan on going out, if you're going to a date night, just know that if you're going during peak times, you might have a longer wait than some other areas, but just be aware and kind of plan for, there's a lot of people in Folsom and the overall businesses here are thriving because of it, which is great. But when you go out, you're gonna see a lot of people, you're gonna, kind of be in the mix of some of those crowds. So just kind of be prepared for that if you're going out in Folsom.
Yeah, so, if you're not a big fan of crowds or if you're not a big fan of waiting, that's gonna be one of those things that you may not wanna have to deal with, or you may wanna plan your week a little bit differently, maybe do your date nights during the week. It's usually a little bit lighter, but yeah, Folsom's growing like crazy. It has a really good, strong, healthy job market here. A lot of people will relocate to this area because of the schools and the job market, but what comes with that is going to be a little bit more crowded population. It's going to be a little bit worse of traffic if you're trying to get to and from across town. So just kind of keep that in mind if that's something that, is going to be a deal breaker for you. It is a growing and thriving economy. It's a growing city. They're building a ton of infrastructure, and they are building anywhere between 15 and 30,000 new homes south of Highway 50 in the brand new Folsom Ranch. So that's also going to be one of those things where it's just going to come with more traffic, more wait times until they start building up more of the infrastructure.
All right, now one of the cons for Folsom, for me specifically, is it can be super confusing and hard to figure out how to get around. Now what I mean by that is that when Folsom set up the city streets here, they didn't set it up in your average grid-like streets where the main streets run, east to west, north and south. They kind of set it up a little wonky. They kind of run around the area. There's main streets that go diagonally. There's streets that go this way and then kind of loop around a certain area and come back down. So for me, the first time I had to drive into Folsom, I was coming from Granite Bay, trying to get to Folsom High School, plugged it into my map. I came across Folsom Lake Crossing, and then it took me down like East Bidwell, brought me back around to Iron Point, and it like looped me around to all these different streets to the point where I felt like, wait, didn't I already pass that? It was super confusing. And then looking at it on a map, like I said, you do have sections of Folsom where, like right around historic downtown where we're at right now, it's real grid-like, but then there's some main streets that cut across diagonally, and it can be really confusing to kind of navigate those main streets and figure out how to get from one end to the other, which can also make it a little time-consuming to get from one end of Folsom all the way to the other, just because it's tricky the way that they have their streets set up.
So one of the cons that we want to make sure that you guys are aware of is going to be limited or lack of public transportation. Now, I know Lauren talked about some of her confusion as it relates to like some of the city streets and how some of the grid system as it relates to the street thought process isn't very user-friendly. They're working around some waterways, some freeways, and then they're also expanding across, Folsom Ranch. And don't get me started on Folsom Ranch, because all the roads over there are just still under massive construction, and it can be super confusing if you're trying to go to Russell Ranch, to Folsom Ranch, or even the new Folsom Heights. So that's a whole different story, but limited public transportation. So the cool thing is you do have one of the light rail stops. One of the last light rail stops is going to be located over off of Sutter Street, but for the most part, the public transportation system here, you're going to have a light rail system that takes you down to downtown Sacramento if you have to go down into downtown for any reason, and it has a couple stops along Highway 50. But your bus system is going to be a little bit more limited or a little bit more lacking than maybe some of your bigger metropolitan cities. So if you're used to taking public transportation to get to work, the frequency of those bus stops may be a little bit more erratic. Or a little bit less, like if you have to be to work, maybe you're either showing up an hour early or an hour late kind of thing. We don't have a massive subway system here, and that goes for the entire greater Sacramento metro. It's usually buses, and then you have light rails in certain parts of downtown Sacramento. So our public transportation system is definitely a little bit more limited. If you're thinking about moving to Folsom or specifically the greater Sacramento metro, the public transportation system is going to be a little bit lacking there. And finally, our last con that we're going to leave you with is going to be, it's going to have a little bit more expensive housing. Now, this is all going to be relative to where you're coming from. Now, if you're moving from out of state to California, Folsom is definitely going to be a little bit more expensive than a majority of the United States as it relates to cost of living or affordability. We just did a cost of living video that you can find right there, where we did it for the greater Sacramento metro, and we can always provide you more details or more facts as it relates to Folsom specifically. But as a whole, Folsom is going to be a little bit more expensive if you're coming from one of the states that is a lower cost of living. Now, if you are coming from, let's say, Southern California or the Bay Area, San Diego, LA, or like San Francisco, East Bay, Danville, Dublin, things like that, Folsom's probably going to be a little bit cheaper, but there is a lot of demand, there is a lot of desirability to Folsom, mainly because of its proximity to, the nature, some of the pros that we talked about, so the shopping, restaurants, schooling. So it has a lot of desirability, which creates a increased demand, and we're still dealing with a decreased supply over the last year or two. So that was our list of 5 pros and 5 cons, as well as a little bit of exploration of the town and what some of our favorite places are in Folsom. So if you're thinking about making the move to Folsom, or you're wanting some more information about some of the different neighborhoods around here, or what would be the best game plan for you to help you make the move as easy as possible, that phone number should be popping back up. You can schedule a one-on-one Zoom call with both of us so we can strategize and game plan and make sure that that game plan is going to be right for you.
If some of those cons scared you, or you're wanting to explore some of the surrounding areas to Folsom, like Roseville, Granite Bay, or even El Dorado Hills, we can do that as well. We know the area, and we are one of the top relocation teams here. We can get to know your goals and help you figure out what areas will not be a good fit for you, and make sure you find the area that works best for you. We're always here and available to help you out with all of your real estate needs.